for reminding me. Now we are recording. Perfect. Okay, so as we said before the break, now we're going to check some small grammar details when it comes to amounts and quantities, okay? Remember somebody had a question with that. I think it was Daniel, that, and us. So maybe here we're going to clarify that, okay? So we have, for example, comparisons of quantity for different uses. For example, to show difference, we use words such as more, less, fewer, or than, okay? Now I want you to take a look at the word fewer, okay? Fewer comes from few, okay? Very important. When we use few and a few, there is a difference, okay? A few has a positive connotation and few has a negative connotation. The article A makes all the difference. For example, if you say, only a few people came to the party. Okay, it's a small number, but it's still a positive, a good amount, still okay. But if you say, few of my students passed the final exam, it's a negative connotation. It's a very little number, few. Okay, so when you say a few, that article means it's more than few. So we have few, then a few, okay? And for comparisons, we have words like more, and then we use than, okay? More than, less than, fewer than. So than establishes the comparison. Oh, it's too bad, too unfortunate that Daniel is not here yet, because that was the explanation, Daniel. Okay, than is for the comparison and usually to show difference. Okay, and it complements the words more, usually more than, less than, fewer than. Okay. Okay, someone else is coming. Oh, Daniel. Okay. And here we have, for example, some examples in the box, okay? Remember that we can use more plus nouns that are both countable and uncountable nouns. Daniel, welcome to the session. I was saying this is the information you needed. Than complements the words more, less, and fewer when we talk about nouns to express difference, okay? But it's a complement. So we say more than, less than, fewer than, okay? Examples. Letty, can you please read the first example?
Yeah. Eloise has more children than Chantal.
Chantal, it's a name.
Chantal.
Yes.
Okay.
Excellent. Now, this is with countable nouns. We can also use with uncountable, okay? Bere, can you read the second example?
Yes, miss. Eloise has more money than Chantal.
We can say more money, okay, in a comparison. And finally, Constanza, last example.
This new dictionary gives more information than the old one.
Exactly. Information, it's also an uncountable noun, and we can use more. Okay. Sometimes people believe much is only for uncountable, and more, no, we can use more, yes, depending on the sense. Okay. Perfect. Now, let's continue. No questions here? Nope. All right. Now the word fewer. Okay, fewer. As we explained before, fewer comes from few. Just be careful when we use few and a few. I repeat what I said for those who just joined the session. When we use few, it has, even though it means a small number, it has a positive connotation when we use a few. And when we use a few, it has a negative connotation. So few is always less than a few, okay? Now we have fewer than, okay? Check again, Daniel, fewer than. Before, in the previous slide, we check more than, okay? Now we have 1, 2, 3, 4 examples. Please, let's read the examples in order. Alma, then Areli, then Armando, then Daniel.
Okay, the first one says Chantal has fewer children than Eloise.
Mhm. Okay, very good.
There are fewer dogs in Cardiff than in Bristol.
Cities from the United Kingdom, very good. Next one.
I have visited fewer countries than my friend has.
That my friend has, okay.
It's my turn. He has read fewer books than she has.
Okay, so as you can see, Daniel, this establishes the comparison. Than, okay, not as, because it's not an equal. Last slide, the previous slide, it was more than, now fewer than. Now let's
Okay, I
use,
get it.
yes, okay, good. Let's use the expression less, okay? Less plus uncountable nouns, okay? More, less, okay? The same way you use more, the same way we use less, but one means more quantity or less quantity. First example, Armando. Second example, Mildred. Third example, Ismael. And fourth, Cristobal.
Eloise has more money than Chantal.
Second example, Mildred.
Chantal has less money than Eloise.
Very good. Who was next? Well, Cristobal, can you read next one?
Okay. I spend less time on homework than you do.
Very good. Okay. Next one, Ismael, I think it's not here. Areli.
Cats drink less water than dogs.
Okay. And final one, this new dictionary gives more information than the old one. Okay, less and more. The difference is very clear. Okay, so these are just or a few grammar points for you. Okay.
Teacher, could you go back for one slide because I didn't have the information.
This
Thank
one?
you so much.
Yes. So I'm going to share this picture with you. Can I change slide?
Yes, thank you.
This is going to be, in a nutshell, expressions of quantity. It's convenient that you revise, okay, during the week, and you can add them to your vocabulary. These ones, plus the ones we learned during the class, okay? So here are the examples. For countable nouns, a majority of, a number of, several, many, a large number of, a few and few, very few, and a great number of. I already mentioned the difference. So imagine this is a few, then few, very few, okay? For example, I like to add a few milk to my coffee.
A little milk, no, miss?
Well, sorry, a few milk. Yes, a little milk. I like to add, let me give you another example. That is a little, because I also want to explain a little. A few students came into the class because it's so cold, okay? Let's say maybe 6 or 8. And if I say few students pass the exam, it's an even smaller number. And very few, an even smaller number, okay? The same happens with little and a little, but that is for my example with milk or water, that is for uncountable, okay? So we have the uncountable nouns with green, okay? We have expressions like much, a bit, a great deal of, a large quantity of, a large amount of, a little, little, and very little. Again, let me give you the example. I like to add a little milk to my coffee, okay? Then another example, but check how it still has a positive connotation. Check the difference. If I say, he got kidney stones because he drinks little water. So little water is almost no water, and very little, even less, okay? And in purple or lavender, you can see expressions that we use with both, okay? For and uncountable nouns, okay? Expressions like enough, all, more, most, less, least, no, none, any, not any, some, plenty of, and lots of. Okay, so this is in a nutshell the expressions you can have and how we divide them, whether the noun is countable, uncountable, or you can use them equally for both. Okay. If you want, you can take a picture of this, or later I can share the picture in the chat. All right. Excellent. Questions so far? No? All right. Let's continue. Now, we're going to work with reading comprehension, but still we're going to transform this into active reading, because in the kinds of reading we use with these books, they are active. We discuss, we check, we compare, okay? Something that I wanted to mention, and I forgot to mention last session, all of the words that you learn in the readings or in the units, please try to make a vocabulary list at the end of your notebook. Because remember, one of the main aims for this course is to boost your vocabulary, to boost the grammar structures, to make you write and speak more formal. And one way to do that is boosting up the vocabulary. All right, so please help me with that. At the end of your notebook, a list of those. And also, I'm going to be sharing with you the recommended words you have to learn or practice per unit. The books they give us that. You have them in the books, but I'm going to send you just a small screenshot of those words, okay? All right, we're going to continue working on the Keynote book, but on page 25. And we're going to do activities on page 24. All right, page 25, activities on page 24. This is, let me show you, oh, oops. This reading, I remember now the reading. I'm going to share it directly from the book because it's big. But before we do the reading, we're going to do a speaking part. This unit now, it's called Image, Identity, and Clothing, okay? So it talks about personal image. So instead of sending you to breakout rooms, we're going to discuss this in all together. But I'm also going to share the picture from the book. Then give me a second. I'll go directly to the book. Not this one.
Miss, I'm sorry, which book it is?
The Keynote
Is it?
book.
Keynote, okay.
Keynote.
Page 28.
24 and 25.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. Okay, this reading in particular, we're going to do it from the book, and I'm going to share directly here, okay? Because it's too big, and I couldn't make it bigger in the PowerPoint, and sometimes you don't see, okay? Tell me when you see what I'm sharing, please. Oh, no, not this one, sorry. Do you see now the book? Yes?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's do this all together. Observe the picture we have to your right, okay? Which person do you think probably has more money from those you're observing? What do you think?
The girl in the right.
The girl in the right. What makes you
At
think
the right.
The dog.
The clothes she wears.
the
The
clothes
dog. Dog. The blonde hair.
the blonde
I don't
hair?
know.
Okay.
It's not a very objective opinion. It's more like a joke, but I don't know. Maybe the size she has, it has something. It's a very, I don't know, thought way of looking. So
Okay.
She looks powerful and secure. Maybe that's what
She looks powerful.
makes me.
Sure. Good. Okay. Do you guys agree? Do you share the same opinion?
But the other girl has a Starbucks coffee, in her hand.
And the
Starbucks
fancy
coffee is-
glasses, right?
Yeah, and fancy glasses and a hat. So I think that this girl is the one that has more money.
She might be a famous person, no? Because he's using glasses and he's wearing a cap. I think that it's
Exactly.
rich
And
and everyone.
actually famous people sometimes they disguise themselves a little bit with glasses and all of that to cover up, and yeah, they're rich. So we have divided opinions. That's interesting. Okay. Anyways, what I want you to check is you were looking at the clothes, the style, the image, the kind of sight, the kind of how the person is speaking, Daniel said, all of that. All right. The style. Number 2, which person do you think is younger and why?
The way that the girl in the left dress, it's like more relaxed, and maybe she looks younger because of that.
Okay.
The coffee, the t-shirt.
I think she's the same person.
You think she's the same person?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, but with two different styles.
Exactly.
But with the one in the left, she looks younger, I think. Or
Okay.
the girl in the left is younger.
Then my next question would be, what makes the girl on the right look older? What exactly?
The way she wears. She wears more serious, like trying to look more serious, more confident or more professional, something like that. She tries to look better in front of the people.
Okay.
Jacket, it's kind of casual style.
Mhm.
The other looks more trendy style.
Trendy. Okay. What do you think of the hairdo?
Mm,
The hairdo of the girl on the right looks more like from the 90s, right? When everybody was going to the hairstylist, and now it's more relaxed. Okay.
yeah.
Good. Which person do you think is the most likely to get good service in an expensive department store, and why?
Well, as Arely says, or I don't remember who, the girl with the glasses seems to be richer because we can think that she is an artist, no?
Mhm.
And so maybe as people think like this, maybe she can get a good service because of that, because it is an unknown one.
Exactly. And what you were saying, what Beres just said, because people think this way, it is maybe sad, but it's true that people treat you depending on how they look at you, right? You go into a fancy store, expensive store, the people there, they scan people and they say, oh, they can spend money here. So they give you a different treatment, right? Arely, you had a comment?
Yes, I would say that in the case of for example, for the first impression,
Mhm.
it happens to me, as Carlos said, that the girl with the coat, it's more has more money and she is more serious and maybe she can spend more money for the first impression. When
Mhm.
you analyze the situation, maybe as Cristobal said, the other girl could be hidden in a different person. Maybe she's rich and she has fancy things that gives more detail about her status, because even the artists have jeans and Converse shoes, no, they
Mhm.
have, but they have a Starbucks coffee, fancy glasses. But for the first impression, I would say that the best treatment would be received by the girl in with the dog
Okay.
because of
Very
the formal style.
Now, this exercise is just for conversation. So it's for us to share opinions, no problem. Now we're going to do exercise number 2. Exercise number 2 says, read the article. Does the article agree with your answers to exercise 1? Then match each heading A to C with a section 1 to 3. Okay. Let's first read the article and see if you were mistaken or if you were correct. Okay. The unit is called Image, Identity, and Clothing. All right. So let's divide this in paragraphs. Letty, please, paragraph 1. Mildred, paragraph 2. Daniel, paragraph 3. Then paragraph 4, Alma. Paragraph 5, which is it's small, Armando. Paragraph 6, Constanza. And paragraph, the last one, Bere. Okay.
Okay. Then is image, identity, and clothing. Science reveals the power of personal appearance. Facebook's founder Mark Zuckerberg was of hoodie, jeans, and trainings wearing university students with a good idea of social network. Now he's a billionaire businessman who wears a hoodie, jeans, and trainers to work, included to important meetings. Not everyone approves. When he wore casual clothes to meet with Wall Street investors, some critics claiming that it showed he was uncommitted and immature.
Harvard Business School researcher Francesca Gino has a different idea. She says that while most people seem to think that dressing differently from those around you generally has a negative effect, her belief is that it can actually have a very positive effect, and she's done experiments to prove it. When her researchers wearing sportswear visited specialty shops selling luxury brands in Milan, they found that shop assistants usually assumed they were wealthier and more important than those who visited the shops properly dressed in furs and designer clothes.
Very good. Next one.
Reporter Randy Newton of the New York Observer newspaper ran her own version of the experiment at one of New York's major department stores. When she visited the store dressed in hiking boots, tracksuit, bottoms, a t-shirt, casual jacket, and woolly hat with messy hair underneath, one assistant asked her if she was an actress and showed her the most expensive cosmetics. She repeated the experiment with her hair carefully styled, wearing glamorous clothes, and even carried a small dog, and was largely ignored. According to the Harvard Business School research, if the relatively strange style of dress looks as though it's intentionally or trendy, many people will believe you're wealthy or important.
But is it always the case that people judge less formal clothing more positively? Is the effect on others of the clothing we wear the same everywhere we go? Researchers in France used a similar approach to Gino's and Newton's, but rather than testing the perceptions of assistants in high-end boutiques, they took the research out into the street to the general public. The video they made of the experiment shows an actor dressed in a smart, well-cut suit with a tasteful tie and polished shoes walking along the road. He begins to cough, stops, and bends over to catch his breath, then falls down. Before he even calls for help, people rush to his aid. In a second video, the actor comes back to the same crowded location and repeats the actions in exactly the same way. But this time, no one person comes to help him, even when he repeatedly calls out for help. The difference in the second version of the experiment He is wearing a scruffy clothes. He's wearing a scruffy clothes and old trainers and looks like a poor homeless person. In a situation such as this, the clothes you are wearing could mean the difference between life and death.
It seems that our clothing doesn't only alter the way others view us, but also the way we see ourselves. And apparently, it affects our intelligence as well. Researchers at the Kellogg School of Management at Northwestern University in the USA did some simple experiments with the students. One experiment tested subjects' ability to pay attention to details. One group wore their usual everyday clothes, while a second group wore a white lab coat. A second experiment tested the group's ability to concentrate for several minutes in a task that involved spotting minor difference between two very similar images. For this one, there were three groups, one wearing their normal clothes, one wearing a white coat that had been described to them as a painter's coat, and the third wearing a white coat they were told was a doctor's coat. Amazingly, the test subjects wearing the so-called doctor's could perform better in both tests. The researchers believe that the test subjects' basic abilities were improved as a direct result of the clothing that they wore.
What the experiment didn't show was whether there were any longer-term effects. If people always wear a doctor's coat, would they be permanently more intelligent? More experiments are needed before we decide to make the white coat the fashion accessory of choice.
Exactly. Very good. Thank you. Very interesting information, right? And it's important how psychology plays a role, even in the clothes we wear, which is crazy. Maybe you're thinking, okay, then I'm going to ask my students to wear a doctor's coat in every class because it has a positive effect according to this study. But sometimes it's theories and hypotheses. So we're going to do an activity here, but before the activity, I want you to tell me then, were you right or wrong in your answers to exercise 1?
I were wrong. I thought that the girl with the dog would be best attended in the store, but it was not. It was the girl with the coffee and the covered face.
No, I think you were right because you said the person on the left, everybody was paying attention to her, and the reading says that the vendor thought she was an actress and she offered her everything.
But I assumed at the beginning that the girl with the dog would be treated in a best way.
Okay.
That's
Then I
why,
think it was better than who said.
yes,
the
better
other-
say that it was different, no? That it would be a fashion girl.
Exactly.
Yeah, Letty mentioned that it was the same girl, and it really was the same
And
one.
it really was. It's an actress performing one of those social experiments. Excellent. Now let's do an activity that has a lot to do with the tests or the exam you decide to take in the future. Normally, one of the activities you have for reading comprehension is not just questions about the reading. In these kind of exams, you will be asked to choose the best heading for paragraphs sometimes. So here, the picture on the right, all of the lecture, it's divided in 3 paragraphs. Paragraph 1, you see the number in pink, then paragraph 2 and 3. You have to do this individually now. I don't want you to read the whole thing, just scan, which is one ability for reading, scan the paragraphs and you have to match the heading, okay? With A, B, and C answers we have. Number 1, A, you are what you wear. B, dangerous prejudices. And C, reverse psychology, okay? So you have to give, if you were to give a paragraph a title, which would you choose? Okay, this is a good practice because exams normally ask you to do this. Okay, so I'm going to give you some minutes. Please raise your Zoom hands when you're done, and we check answers, okay, and compare. Did we understand the activity?
No, actually no. Do we have to create headings for each paragraph, or we only have to choose one?
No, there are 3 paragraphs. You have to match them with the headings we have on activity 2. Do you see them here? Where it says number 2 on the left, you are what you
Okay.
were, A, dangerous. You have to choose each one.
Okay,
Okay,
I got
right.
it.
Excellent. So let's do this,
For the
guys.
paragraph 2, right?
Huh?
For the paragraph 2, the
No.
paragraph with the number 2. I think it is connected this match. For example, when it says reading, it says to read the article. Does the article agree with your answers to exercise? And in the reading, we have the number 2 in pink in the lower part.
But you also have the number 1 in pink and the number 3. So you have 3 paragraphs in the reading. It's divided in 3 parts. Let's say it's
Three
divided in
parts.
3 parts.
Okay, okay.
You have to connect A, B, and C with those 3 parts. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Raise your Zoom hands when you're done. Okay. Okay, I see that the majority is done. Okay, the majority of you has finished. So let's check. Okay, let's check and compare then the answers we have. So what heading would you give to number 1? To, I don't want to say paragraph, but to, how can I say, to the part 1.
Section 1, no?
The
You are
section.
what you
for
were.
example.
Number 1. Paragraph 1, maybe it can be with letter A. You are what you were.
You are what you were. Okay, so number 1, you would say you are what you were. Okay, do you guys agree?
I said reverse psychology.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Who says reverse psychology?
Me, Are.
Raise your hands.
Me.
Okay, that is the correct answer. Number 1C, reverse psychology. Okay. Number 2, section 2.
Dangerous prejudices.
Letter B.
Prejudices. Excellent. Excellent.
Prejudices.
Prejudice.
Is that the correct pronunciation?
Yes.
Prejudices, okay. Thanks.
And final one, well,
You are what you were.
which one is it?
Letter A.
You are what you were.
At the end, you are what you were. Excellent. Very good. All right. So as I said before, these kind of activities, you will have them on exams. So it's important. Don't go back and read the whole thing. The second time you read, since you already have an idea, just scan for expressions and for words that are going to tell you what's the best heading. Okay. Now, let's work on activity 3. It says, answer the question. Which section of the article do the photographs illustrate? Again, remember it's divided in 3 sections, okay? The main picture, which section does it
The
illustrate?
first one. Section 1.
Section 1. Okay, section 1, correct. Number 2, do the first 2 experiments in the article contradict one another? Do you remember what experiments?
Yes, yes. The one that the boy that was coughing, no, in the street, and
Okay.
he was dressed in a suit, and in the second one he was in a humble clothing, or I don't know how to say, with the jeans and wrap jeans, and then they thought that he was homeless, no?
Okay,
people
and
didn't
the
help.
other example is the one with about the girl. Okay,
Yes.
do the experiments contradict
Yes.
each other? Okay, can you explain why?
Well, as I said, it's because of clothing. The girl with the formal clothing entered to the store, and then she was not well treated. They thought that the girl with the glasses and the jacket was more fancy, and she was a kind of an artist, covered or makeup. Or disguised, sorry. And in the other hand, the man with the formal suit was helped or received help from people, and the boy with the jeans, well, it was the same person, but in the informal clothing, they let him, I don't know, let him alone.
Nobody gave him aid.
Nobody helped him, right?
Exactly. So in a way, we can conclude that in a way, the experiments, yes, they contradict each other, because in the first one, less formal clothing gets you a more positive response. But in the second one, it didn't. You didn't get the help because of that, okay? But however, it is important to notice that the 2 situations were different. One was in a store and the other one was on a crowded place, okay, in real.
I disagree in this part, because I think the 2 first experiments were the Newton's experiment and what is the name of the other scientist? And Francesca Gino. I think those are the 2 first experiments.
Okay. Well, here it's talking about exactly a scientist. It's Randy Newton. It's just a reporter, which happens to have the same last name as Isaac Newton. But the first two experiments are the ones that I mentioned, the girl and the boy. What
Oh,
is
okay.
mentioned before, it's a research. It's a
Okay.
Harvard business researcher, but it's a research. It was not the experiment. Okay. All right, question 3. What message did the business suit send in the second experiment? What message was that sending to people? And what about the old scruffy clothes? What message was sent by both?
That people will treat you according to your clothes.
Okay.
You are what you were. Well, in the second, I'm talking about the second experiment.
Yes, yes. In the second experiment, people dare to approach, because normally with this insecurity we don't approach strangers. So in the first experiment, the message of the suit was, it's safe. Nothing will happen, right? It's safe, it's a good person. And the scruffy clothes was maybe sending a dangerous, maybe it's not worth the trouble. Okay, that's the kind of message it was sending. And number 4, what does the third experiment imply about people's view of themselves, painters and doctors? What do you think? What do you think?
Doctors are smarter than painters.
Okay, well,
That's something I understood a little bit, like hidden into the experiment.
Well, that's my question. What does the third experiment imply about people's view of themselves? What people think, what people believe of themselves, not a statement like that, like doctors are smarter than painters, because that was the experiment, right? But what were these students thinking of themselves? What do you think?
Yeah.
There
They
weren't
are
any longer-
smarter depending on what they wear.
Okay. Any other opinion?
They feel more secure wearing a coat, like a doctor.
Yeah, we see some groups of doctors and maybe they go to a restaurant, no, near the hospital, and they use their white coat all the time. So maybe they receive a different treatment, no? I say,
Or
oh,
maybe.
doctor passed, no? It's not a simple mortal, they are doctors.
Or
And
maybe.
everybody thinks, this is a common thought. People believe doctors are really intelligent. So what did the students think of themselves? Maybe they had a boost in their confidence. And maybe they believed in themselves more because they were like, okay, I look intelligent. So it's a self-projection of intelligence, maybe. Because that has to do with psychology. We're just giving hypotheses here. Okay.
That it gives more confidence to them. That's the thing you say.
Yes, the confidence. When students are confident, and that is true. When they are confident, they do better in exams. This is why, for example, you're taking this course, because the day you take it, you want to be more confident. And that, believe me, is going to make a difference. That if you go all insecure of yourself. Excellent. Let's do activity 4. Okay. Which of the following statements could be supported by the experiment results described in the text? Underline the specific parts of the text that either provide support or contradict each statement. So here we have 6 statements, okay? What we have to do is check which one which is supported by the experiments and which contradicts, okay? Just what you think. Let's do this individually. I'll give you 3 minutes and then we check, okay?
Which one, teacher?
You are supposed to read the 6 statements and decide which of the following statements could be supported by the experiment results described in the text.
Okay, thank you.
Which? You choose. All right. Okay, you guys are done. This activity is a little bit tricky, so I'm going to do the first one with you, and then you do the other 5, okay? So you have the statements. You have 6 statements. What you have to do is decide which sentence is supported or not supported in the text. For example, let's analyze number 1. There is some disagreement about the message sent by wearing certain types of clothing. This is supported. So the answer would be yes, this one is supported. Why? Because the first 2 experiments have the opposite reactions, okay? Areli already explained why. So you can say number 1, yes, it is supported because of this. Number 2, it is not supported, or yes, it is because of this. You need to tell us why. Why is number 1 supported? Because we have proof that I don't know why my HomePod is talking. That number 1 is supported because in the paragraph number 3, the experiment shows that people thought this actress was somebody important and gave her attention. But on the next paragraph, when the guy was wearing the suit, they helped him. So it's contradictory. Okay? You need to do the same with 2, 3, 4, and 5. Let's do it together to advance faster. I'll read the situation and you tell me if it is supported in the text or not. Number 2, in most situations, people simply don't pay attention to what other people are wearing.
It is not supported.
It's not supported.
Exactly. Why not? Because, well, all of the experiments shows the opposite. Okay, very good. Number 3, the clothing people wear is probably not reliable way of judging them.
I am not sure about that one.
Letty, you're raising your hand. You have the answer?
I think it's not supported. Number 2, right?
Number 3.
Number 3. I think it's supported. Yes.
It's supported. Why, Letty? It's correct, but why?
Or is probably not reliable way of judgment. Okay. It's well, the experiments. It's talking about that one. For example, the man who falls, who wear coffin, said wearing coal mean the difference between life and death.
And also because of the girl, no?
Yes, better.
She was dressed casual, so they thought she was an actress. Or the girl, the shop assistant thought she was and she showed all the most expensive things she had.
Exactly. And at the end, this is supported because these are experiments and they show us that the girl and the boy, they were both actors. So this was not real, that's why. Excellent. Number 4, some people will almost always come to the aid of a person who is obviously in need.
No, that's not true.
Not supported. In fact, that's not true. The one who seemed to be homeless, nobody was with him.
Exactly, correct.
That we are empathic, but not with all the person, no?
Exactly,
With the people that we think that they are reliable.
Exactly. If you believe the person is not reliable, you don't want to risk yourself. Very good. Next one. Clothing is interesting, but ultimately not of huge importance in society.
It's not support. It's not mentioned
Not
in the text.
supported.
It's not mentioned, not directly, but I think with everything here, all of the experiments and all of the studies, we can say clothing is very important, at least for the opinion people have, right? But yes, it's not supported. Number 6, it seems likely that if a person wants to feel better about him or herself, choosing some nice looking clothes could be a good starting point.
I think that it's
supported.
This supported.
It's supported. Okay, why? Because of experiment 3.
The last one.
People felt better with those clothes, and it happens to us. When you're sad, you go shopping and you wear those clothes and you feel awesome. Betty smiling because it has happened to her. All right. Whenever there's an effect of people wearing new shoes or new clothes, according to psychology. Excellent. Very good. So let me go back to the PowerPoint. Do you see my PowerPoint now? Yes, we were going to do these activities. 1, 2, 3, 4, we did them, but directly from the book. Now, let's continue with this, okay? How to describe ideas, describing dress. Here, we're going to get some vocabulary of interesting adjectives, so good idea to add them to your vocabulary. It says, choose the best options to complete the sentences. His outfit, a t-shirt and jeans, was inappropriate, clashing, considering it was his brother's wedding. Now, let's do this individually, okay? All you have to do is choose the best adjective depending on the situation. Please raise your Zoom hands when you're done. Do we all know the meaning of clashing?
No, teacher.
No, miss, no.
Okay, clashing has different meanings, okay? Clashing as a verb means choque or incompatible, okay? But here we have another meaning. Clashing clothes, okay? Clashing clothes means, let me show you. For example, here, can you see the picture of this girl? Clothes, yeah. Clothes that probably don't match. Stripes with with moles or stripes with flower stamp. That's the meaning, okay?
But today it's a new style.
Yeah, it is a new trend.
Horrible, by the way.
Yes, of course I hate it. But maybe there are fashion models that use it and combine it, and it seems to be nice, but I don't really like it.
All right. So that's the meaning of clashing, okay? Clashing clothes. So let's do the activity and please tell me or raise your hands when you're done, okay?
Miss,
Yes.
I have to disconnect right now, so I have an appointment with a doctor.
Okay, okay. Anyways, we're recording the class, okay? Don't worry.
Okay.
And
See you next Saturday.
see you.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Miss, could this exercise be also according to the context? For example, if I say inappropriate for me, maybe as a mother, for example, if I'm going to a wedding, I'm arriving with a very short skirt, maybe. So for me, that's inappropriate.
Mhm.
And clashing could be, as you said, something that doesn't match. How can I notice the difference?
Well, I think in this case, because you're talking about a wedding, we just divide this into appropriate or inappropriate, not into the style. So
Oh.
number one, I would do it because it's a wedding. There's appropriate attire and inappropriate attire.
Got it.
Mhm.
Yes, because I was thinking about what's inappropriate. Inappropriate, because as Arely said, nowadays we have lots of clashing clothes. Thank you, me.
You're welcome.
Miss,
Yes.
what is the meaning of the scruffy in the line 5, in paragraph 5? The meaning of scruffy.
Okay. This is another adjective we can use when it comes to clothes, okay? Let me put it in the chat. Where is it? So you can add it to your vocabulary list. Scruffy. Okay. I think I wrote it correct in Spanish. It's desaliñado, so en fachas. That's scruffy. Okay, are we done? Not yet, okay. Ready, guys? Not yet? Okay, I'll wait. Ready, guys? Okay, I was waiting for you because of the Zoom hands. Okay, so number 1, his outfit, a t-shirt and jeans, was considering it was his brother's wedding. What's the answer?
Inappropriate.
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 Was inappropriate. Very good. The media praised the dress she wore
Tasteful.
for the
Tasteful.
film opening, describing it as classic.
Tasteful.
Tasteful. Okay, very good. Tasteful. So taste is
What?
not just whenever you are tasting food.
I
Okay?
thought it was only for food. Okay, but it's tasteful.
Okay. Very good. Tasteful. Unconventional is another word to describe clothes. For example, Lady Gaga wears unconventional clothes. Okay. Number 3, the designer was known for wearing clothes, jeans cut up and remade as dresses, for example.
Imaginative.
Imaginative.
Imaginative. Very good. Very good.
I have a question, Miss.
Mhm.
What tasteful mean?
Taste.
¿De buen
Taste.
gusto? ¿De buen gusto?
Yes. The buen gusto. Because taste usually it's when you taste the
Try
food.
some.
Okay. So tasteful. Buen gusto.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Next one. His business suits were well and always fit extremely well.
Well cut.
Cut.
Well cut. What do you think is the meaning of well cut in clothes?
Like hecho a su talla. I don't know.
Exactly.
That fits
Not
perfectly.
big. Exactly.
Fits.
Well. Okay. Well cut. The exact size you need, the exact measurement of the sleeves, all of that is well cut. Number 5, I would describe his sense of dress as because he would often wear a heavy fur coat in hot weather and sandals when it was snowing.
Eccentric.
Eccentric.
Eccentric. Very good. Eccentric. Excellent. Okay, let's do activity 7 together. Put the words from exercise 6 in the correct list. Something generally negative, clashing. Okay, what other word can be generally negative? What other word of all of the adjectives you have in exercise 6?
Scruffy.
Scruff.
Okay, scruffy, clashing. One more. One more.
Inappropriate.
Unconventional.
Inappropriate.
Oh,
Inappropriate. So here the answer, generally negative, and it's good for you to know. Generally negative words to describe clothes, clashing, inappropriate, and scruffy. Okay, now basically neutral, not bad, not good to describe clothes. What words?
unconventional.
Unconventional. Okay, one more.
Imaginative.
Eccentric.
Eccentric, yes. Eccentric and unconventional. Very good. Number 3, generally positive meaning.
Well cut.
Well cut,
Tasteful.
Tasteful.
tasteful, very good, tasteful, well cut.
Glamorous.
Glamorous. 2 more.
Trendy.
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 And one more that is usually positive.
Imaginative. No.
Imaginative. Very good. Exactly. Perfect. Now we won't do activity 8, okay? Only until activity 7. But I want to discuss these questions all together, okay? Because we are a small group. Why do you think the appropriateness of clothing is so important to people in society? Why do you think this is so important? Any ideas on why?
I think it's talking about from a cultural point of view,
Mhm.
it gives them an identity, but it's more, I think it's more complex. For example, with ethnic groups, which
Mhm.
use a specific kind of clothes, usually with very colorful and complex designs, give them an identity. Sometimes their designs represent something or describe a part of her history in their clothes.
Okay, so what you're saying is correct. Clothes sometimes give people a sense of identity, and not only in the minority groups you're mentioning, but also give people a sense of identity in different economic classes, in different kinds of professions. And people normally, we have the tendency that we want to belong to groups. Okay, that's part of how we are as human. Oh, I want to be part of that one group. And then that's why the clothing is important. This is why we don't wear the same every day, because we want to, it probably sounds wrong, but fit in, right? Number two, in some work situations, a business suit would make the wearer seem responsible and serious. In what situations could a business suit send a different message? Alma, you're raising your hand. Alma, we don't hear you because your microphone is closed.
I'm sorry, I wasn't, but let's try. It's question number 2, right?
Yes.
In some situation, a business suit could make the wearer seem responsible and serious. In what situation could a business suit send a different message? A different message? I don't understand. A negative message?
Yes.
Which...
Areli is raising hands. If you want,
Okay.
she can help
Yes,
you.
yes.
Areli?
Well, I was thinking about suits in at work, for example, when some people they're in a meeting, and then there is a man with a scruffy suit. Then maybe you think that he is not responsible of his clothing, and maybe he's not going to be responsible with the work. Sometimes we know that people maybe they don't focus on their clothing and they focus on their job, and maybe it's not the how can I say it's not the image, no, it's not the idea. But and also in meetings, in job interviews, sorry, they recommend some colors of suits.
Okay.
For example, they say that if you use that the boys wear blue or gray, there's going to be more confident than the person in black, and the color that is less used or that must be less used is brown, because it tends to be it gives the image of a person that it's like old-fashioned and it's not an innovative person.
Okay, it's not modern.
Yeah, that's why maybe
Okay.
people relate clothing with the personality of something.
Okay, yes. And also think of the situations. It depends on the working environment, okay? If you're applying for a management position in a company, well, maybe you go wearing smart clothes or corporate suits. But imagine somebody's looking for a job, either as a graphic designer or maybe in a construction site. And then you arrive wearing a suit, maybe that's inappropriate. That would be like, okay, right? That's what it means. And number 3, do you think the world would be a better place if people weren't so concerned about clothing? Or is it important for us to have clear rules about what's appropriate and what is not?
I think, teacher, it's a matter of prejudices, no, as we were saying before, because exactly, we are very, I don't know if the word is correct, conditioned, condicionados,
We are conditioned.
to dress in a way, no, that is accepted, that is yeah, no, to fit with the society and all that things that I think it just fit prejudices. Well, in my opinion, I think that yes, the world would be a better place if we weren't so concerned about that.
All right, you're raising hands.
I read a reading about this aspect of the life would apply to schools. For example, what is the best, wearing uniforms or just common clothes for school? And there were two different points of view. For example, if all the students wear uniforms, and there will be no difference between the social status of the students. They cannot notice if somebody has more money than the other one. And also, there will not be discrimination about all other conditions. For example, as we saw in the research, in the reading we just read, now there are negative effects if the clothes you wear is not appropriate. So wearing uniforms is a good idea. But also there was another point of view where expert says that all the people wearing uniforms make people lose their identity, and they cannot show why they are unique, and that's we may say a negative point of wearing uniforms. So I cannot say that it's good not be worried about clothes, but also there are a kind of equilibrium. We have to concern about the clothes we wear, but also know much. We just have to choose right clothes for every moment.
Excellent, very, very good opinion. If not, we would have the same society as in North Korea, probably. Okay, Letty and then Areli.
Yeah, I definitely believe that will be a better place because this is very controversial topic, but fashion industry is one of the industries who pollute, who is more polluted in the world. Sometimes these trends are produce clothes that are made by synthetic fabric, of course, that finish or that end up in the garbage at the end after being used only once or twice. That's a problem for pollution, right? And also there are many brands, international brands that are related with child
labor, you mean?
Labor, yeah.
Child labor.
But because it has this name, I'm not going to say which brand, but there are several who are related with this kind of production. It's of course affect everybody, not only here, but affect other countries which doesn't have many opportunities. So yeah, definitely, I think it will be a better place.
Very good. Areli, your comments.
Well, talking about if the world would be a better place, maybe if we, as a society, we do not focus on specifically on clothing, because we have the bad idea that you are what you wear, and it is related not only to clothes, for the car we use, for the gadgets we have, with the brand of the glasses we have. And I think that it's related to what you say, teacher, about belonging to a group of that maybe you are going to be criticized all the time, no? But about clothing, I as Carlos said, the uniform of my students, for me as a teacher, I see them as equal, no? But if the first weeks that they do not use uniform, they have a period about 15-20 days that they don't have
Wear the uniform.
that they don't wear a uniform. It's a big difference between them. They try to relate with people that they are similar clothing, no? Or they make bullying for the girl or the boy that have the same jeans for 2 days or 3 days that they use it consequently. And not only the clothing, and when we have the spaces here in a virtual job, the ways they dress or the ways they live, no, they maybe for them it's better to get their cameras off because their houses are not a castle, and they say to me, no, my clothing, teacher, or my house is not a correct space, that's why I put off my cameras. So we in an office or in a school, we are similar, no? We belong to a similar status, but in our houses or with our clothing, we give another image, and that's why we make differences, no?
Exactly. You all have really good opinions on this, and maybe we can all agree that, as somebody says, the most important is probably to have a balance in this. Very good. So from this unit, please try to see the importance of varying the vocabulary of describing clothes and outfits. We, as you can see, we're looking at different adjectives, more in deep, not just good, bad clothes, okay? And the next activity we're going to check today, and the final one, it's going to be related and connected to the next session, okay? When we work on writing, we're going to work on how to give feedback, okay? And when we give feedback, or when we want to express some things that are not so easy to express because we're trying to sugarcoat things, how can I say this? And I don't want to sound rude, and I don't want to sound inappropriate. This is something we called not just appropriacy, but I forgot the word, let me check. But being diplomatic, which is something we're going to be covering, how you can be diplomatic in the next session, okay? For example, last writing you did, in many of the writings I checked, I was suggesting that try to use hedging language, try to, it sounds a little bit rude, it sounds a little bit unpolite, so I'm going to work on how to be diplomatic in our writings, okay? So let's do this final activity, okay? I need somebody. Constanza, please help us read the letter on number 7, and Mildred, you will have to tell us what do you think is the main purpose of the letter, okay? Let's do it.
Dear Mr. Johnson, thank you for your interest in BCC Technology Group Ltd. We appreciate the time you took to apply for the job and attend the interview. We were impressed with your skills and qualifications, in particular the work experience you undertook in your final year of university. However, we're looking for the candidate who has a somewhat higher level of Spanish ability, CEF C1 at a minimum. Additionally, we're looking for someone who exhibits a real passion for sales. We will keep your application on file for 6 months and contact you if another suitable role within the company opens up. Please feel free to apply for another job openings at BCC that you see advertised. I wish you well with your continuing job search. Yours sincerely,
Inch
Inch Krum.
Very good. Mildred, what is the main purpose of this email?
To let the person know that, well, although he or she has a well-known work experience, well, it can be a candidate because, well, there are other things that they need. In this case, abilities, skills that they need that the person has.
Exactly. So summarizing, everything that Mildred says is correct, and Mildred was also being diplomatic, okay? So in simple words, this is a rejection email, okay? They are rejecting somebody. But Mildred used diplomatic words, which is exactly what we see in the email, okay? They are not saying no because you don't fit in the position, or no. We don't talk like that. We try not to make or hurt people's feelings, and mostly in a professional environment. In a professional environment, you have to act up to the level, okay? And that is something the book in this unit is going to make us work. And I remember last writing, I mean, you had to give suggestions, and you had to tell a director of a university, you have to fix this. And I read, you must do this, or you have to do this. Why don't you do this? Those are expressions that are too direct, okay? You don't want to sound too forward, okay? And when we talk in formal language. So that is what we will cover next class. Let's continue with this on being diplomatic, which is one of the writing skills, as you can see on the square in yellow, okay? And let's do this final activity. What two things does the letter do before getting to the main purpose? Because they don't say the main purpose right away. You're rejected, no. What two things does the letter do before getting to the main purpose, which is the rejection?
They mentioned first, they first mentioned all the abilities. Yes, thank you, Ari. They first mentioned all the skills, the good skills and qualification he had, but they are not enough. And so they, I don't know how to say engrandecer, first, to say, thank you, you are good, you have best, but not what we are looking for.
Okay, okay. Also, Areli, you had an opinion on this?
I was going to say that in the first part, they are referring to, they are making reference to a situation, to a previous situation. For example, thank you for applying for the job, or thank you for your email, or thank you. No, they are taking back to refer to a specific situation. And then they explain as Bere say, they give good words for the participant or the candidate, and then they say that the real intention of the letter, that it's that they're not going to give him the job, no?
Exactly. So the two things the letter does is, number one, they thank the candidate for applying, which is important. Number two, they praise the person, because if they, number one, said you're rejected, you feel bad. So they praise, they mentioned your good points, that is praising. Okay. Number two, what two reasons?
Could you spell the word praising?
Praising, yes. Let me put it in the chat.
En el ejercicio anterior decía algo de praise, ¿no? Así como the media praised the person of dressing.
I think so. I don't remember, but it's a verb, praise.
Praise.
You praise your students constantly so that they are motivated.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good. No problem. Number two. Oh, yes, somebody has a question?
This activity, where can I find it?
Oh, I didn't mention what book. Give me a sec. Oh, I didn't put it here. Hold on. Let me share it here. Give me a sec. Let me tell you the page. Give me a second. My book here. Almost positive it's still on the keynote because I normally write what book I took it from. Give me a sec. Let me open my keynote book again. Viewpoint, no.
It's key point, page 27.
It's the viewpoint, Lati?
Key point. No, keynote.
Keynote, right? It's the keynote, yes. Page 25, you said?
7.
27. Let me share it here so you see. Oh, I'm on page 50. Hold on. Okay, do you see now what I'm sharing? Nope. Let me share it here. Something happened. Okay, here's Constanza. It's the keynote, still on image, but it's this letter. Activity 7, giving feedback. Dear Mr. Jensen, this is the activity. And then the questions. Okay?
Thanks, teacher.
Thank you, Letty. All right, and let me go back to the presentation. Okay, there we go. Oops. So what 2 reasons are given for rejecting Mr. Johnson? What reasons?
His level of Spanish, because we need a person with a higher level.
And one more?
Someone who exhibits a real passion for sales. There were none.
Exactly. Those 2 are the reasons. How does Miss Crump, diplomatic, explain what she's looking for that Mr. Johnson hasn't got?
We mentioned some word like however.
Okay, can you repeat that, please?
Yes, miss. We are mentioning some words like some connectors, like however, which we are contrasting.
So we're contrasting the information. Okay.
However, we're looking for a candidate who has a somewhat higher level of Spanish. And additionally, we're looking for someone. So for that.
Exactly. And those 2 words better says, but also how first they mention they are impressed with this and that from the candidate, then it doesn't feel so aggressive, okay? Final question, what other things does she mention to make the letter positive and supportive?
They say that they will keep his application on file for 6 months. And if they have something suitable for him, they will contact him.
Exactly, okay? And he also says, please feel free to apply to any other job openings we have. So that gives a sense of support and it ends on a positive way, okay? Now, I'm going to give you homework, okay? I'm not going to explain yet, and this was precisely my purpose of this activity. I want to see how diplomatic you can be, and next class, then we will look at the tips on being diplomatic, what words to use, what models, what to avoid. But your homework is easy. You have to rewrite these negative remarks diplomatically, okay? Just make sure you send them before next Saturday, and next Saturday we're going to share your answers, okay, in the class. All right, there's no right or wrong yet because we haven't got to that point, okay? All right, guys. Any questions so far about everything we covered today?
So the homework is gonna be 8B, Miss?
Yes, 8B is the homework.
Thank
Can
you.
I put it in the chat, the photograph of the exercise?
Of course.
That Gloria and Eric and all those can watch it, right?
Yes. Okay. So do you want me to put in the chat?
I will put the photograph if
Good.
you want.
Okay. Thank you, Arely. Perfect. Okay. Any questions? No? Very good. So please do the homework and I see you all back on Saturday. Okay. Please try not to miss the next section. Arely, tell
Gloria.
Gloria, not to miss the next one because those tips are the ones that help you guys in the writing. Okay.
Okay, thank you, teacher.
You're welcome. Thank you for being in today's class and I'll see you next Saturday. Okay.
Teacher,
Thank
can
you,
I
teacher.
send you-
Goodbye.
Thank you, Miss.
Yes,
See
somebody.
you back.
Can I send you a small description during the week?
Can you send me what? Let me
Uh,
sorry.
A description.
Yes, no problem.
Okay. Because I would like to rewrite my answer in the speaking part. So
Perfect. Okay.
thank you.
See you guys. Enjoy the weekend.
Bye.
Okay.
Have a nice
Bye, everyone.
Thank you, teacher.